Well, this is Guns, Knives, Watches, and the best thing about the new channel is I get to get rid of a lot of old content and start over again. Now, I know I've got to build my subscriber base back up, but deleting the old channel and moving on to the new one was the cleanest way for me to do it. Now, what do I EDC carry today, December 2013? Well, of course, I still EDC carry a Victorinox Spirit. Now, this is the standard Spirit. It's the one kind of with a serrated butter knife blade, but it also can work as a safety blade. You can fit it under clothing, this, that, or the other. Has a lot of purposes. Of course, I still EDC carry Rec Spec Bikers. These are made by Liberty Optical, and they're my prescription. Have a light mirror coat on the front of them. They're not as dark as people think they are. In fact, they're pretty light to me. Of course, I EDC carry an iPhone. This is an iPhone 5C. This is the cheaper version, but I upgraded the memory on it to 32 gigs because the memory was more important to me than anything. The larger battery size was important to me over the 4, and then more memory, at least having 32 was just as a minimum. I like the plastic case of it, believe it or not. People might, it feels really good in my hand, and it doesn't suck a lot of heat out of my hand. And I might go over that, I might say that same thing over and over and over again, but that's just, I tend to gravitate towards things like that, so my hands stay warm. I still carry a leather bifold wallet. This is a Dooney & Burke. It's their calfskin wallet. Of course, I got it at closeout down because I spend a lot of time, working, playing, this, that, or the other in Florida, and always go to a Dooney & Burke outlet. Dooney & Burke is never worth less than half of what you paid for it. So if it retails, let's say, for $80, it's never worth less than $40. You damage it, you send it in, they will, if they can't fix it, they will give you a credit towards the purchase of another wallet. Of course, I got this at the outlet, so I probably only paid $45 for it. So when I send it back to Dooney & Burke, they're going to give me a credit for what this thing cost. So I got to carry a leather bifold Dooney & Burke wallet, and it didn't cost me a dime. So then I turn around, I pay the difference towards a new wallet, and it's money well spent. It's not an extravagance, it's just, believe it or not, it's actually a cheaper way of doing things. My keys, on the other hand, are quite different. Here's my car keys. Of course, I have, the Volkswagen car. I have a valet key. Now, the valet key, of course, is held on here by a steel hook that I got from CountyCom and a little snap ring so that I can easily get it on and off. This is the medium-sized snap hook. I also have a medium-sized snap hook with the cage coat on it, hooking my Victorinox Mini Champ on here. Now, this is the Midnight Mini Champ with the white LED. It is the newer version. It has a larger battery size. So if you don't know what the battery cover size is, that may mean nothing to you, but the newer ones take a larger battery. It's also got a ballpoint pen on it that flips out, and a lot of other things. Now, I got turned on to the Mini Champ actually by the Modern Survivalist. He has the book. His name is also Fairfowl. The Modern Survival Manual, Surviving an Economic Collapse, because he had an economic collapse in his country. Another great thing about this one is it has a magnetic Phillips, small little Phillips for working on glasses. And apparently I've been around a lot of metal lately. It's magnetized to it. But it's just a good little tool. They're not cheap. I don't really like the ones that have the red LED, but these work. And these steel or titanium, whatever you want to get, new updated kind of clips from or hooks with gates on them from Countycom really work. And the thing I like about them is the strength of the gate. I'll get one out here that is the older model and just kind of show you, kind of impromptu. The older model looks like this, and the gate just wasn't as strong, and I'm not quite as happy with that type of setup. It never was with the strength of the hook. It's with the the amount of pressure it takes to open the gate. Now, so we went through those things. Next thing is I've got a 3-inch titanium pry bar or Ouija bar. This is titanium because of its strength. I want it, and because it's just lighter. I carry a couple different pieces of keys. I carry a couple different sets of keys, sorry. So that actually matters. I have a titanium peanut lighter and a titanium hook on it. Why? Because if I'm going to buy a titanium lighter, I'm going to get a titanium hook. I actually got it just because, as an experiment, believe it or not, just to see how much lighter it was, and because this is a second set of keys. So I threw my titanium on here because I'm trying to keep the weight off my main ignition switch. Weight of a key ring on an ignition switch will wear out an ignition switch, by the way, if you didn't know that. So I try and keep things as light as I possibly can, but you can see with a Victorinox Mini Champ, you know, and this other stuff on it, it's not the lightest thing in the world. And I've got a large hook. The large hook is just for hooking to another set. You know, I can hook it onto my main set, or I can hook it to a pack, or I can do any of that type stuff. And it's just a lot easier to manipulate, you know, with gloves on or anything. This is the large hook from Countycom. But that's what I'm EDC carrying. You know, I'm really happy with the iPhone 5C. It's an iPhone 5 with a little upgraded camera, an upgraded battery, and the plastic case. And I'm happy with that, believe it or not. And then the other things that I carry. As you can see, my sunglasses, my rec specs have taken a pretty good hit right there. I'm not easy on these things, and they've managed to not break. Just might ought to show you that. They're very flexible, pliable, and they're just, as I said, they're actual safety glasses. Well, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and this is what I'm EDCing today. And why. Now, I used to carry, if anyone watched the old videos, I used to carry, of course, the Spyderco H1 Ladybug with a clip on it. And I'm not saying that's not a good option. In fact, it's a great option. My only problem with it was it's a good knife. It's better than the Mini Champ. I had a problem actually with my light that kept going out and having problems with. So I just switched over to the Mini Champ. Now on some sets of keys I still use this option with a light and this knife, and I'm just going to tell you that's a really good knife for its size. And this one's made out of H1 steel, which means it does not rust. Of course you can see it's been loved. It's very dirty. I probably should have washed it before I put it on camera, but that's the way it works. I'm kind of doing this impromptu. A couple of the things that I've also found out that I don't really like are the titanium rings. The titanium rings, especially the small ones, I'm not a big fan, because when you, like from Countycom, when you spread them out to get them over something, they tend to stay. I mean, you just sprung it, so I'm really not a fan of those. The larger ones I can deal with, and I think here is a medium set or something like that, and they will spring out enough. But the small ones I'm not a fan of, not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If I wanted to put something on here that would be a little bit extra, I could probably put, you know, a can opener or something on it. But you know, I don't really need a can opener. So this is what I do. You know, it's not a perfect setup, but I've never had a problem out of any of it. The only problem I've ever had are out of these peanut lighters, and it's just a manufacturing issue. If your peanut lighter, if your cylinder doesn't slide out of it easily, it's not the insert. It is actually the inside diameter of your actual lighter. And what you can do is you can take sandpaper, roll it up, you know, just a little bit at a time, roll it up in a tube, stick it in there, and let it expand out, and then just spin it on there, and then you'll just cut that off or tear it off or something, and keep spinning it and spinning it and spinning it, and then your insert will actually will start to work. I had one of the titanium ones where the inside diameter of that actual cylinder was a little tight, and it kept pulling when it kept coming apart, malfunctioning, this, that, or the other, and that's how I fixed it. Anyway, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and I'll stop rambling on. But this is what I EDC carry today. I hope it gives you some ideas, and have a good one.